Good morning, children, and welcome to our fourth lesson of the week. That is all to do with our unit on saving the planet, related to ocean pollution, and all around the whales, the angry whales that are writing out a letter of complaint to humans. So on Monday, we looked at an example letter of complaint from Gerald the mountain gorilla to humans to try to persuade them to stop destroying the planet through deforestation. And we also on Monday gathered some facts and information relating to factors affecting whales, not whales in the country, whales in the great big large mammal, things affecting whales which may eventually cause them to become extinct. On Tuesday, we drafted our introductory paragraph and first argument all about plastic pollution. Okay, so in that we're sort of saying, dear humans, I'm writing to you to complain about the way you are treating us. And then in the first argument was all about plastic pollution. That is the main one. That's the core argument. Yesterday, Wednesday, we drafted our separate arguments. So you may have talked about the whaling, the hunting of whales, which is illegal, global warming, and collisions with ships and tankers. You may have written about that in there. So we've made our point to the humans now. And what we're going to do today is we are going to draft our final two paragraphs to finish our letter. So we've got a complete letter of complaint to humans about the way they treat us. By us, I mean that we are becoming a whale. And I spoke to a few of you online yesterday, and I was saying, you've got to use this as an opportunity to write a bit of an angry letter. You know, when you just want to have a go at someone and just have a go and say, this isn't right. You've got to pretend that you're a whale and you're annoyed, and you've got to let those humans know what you think of them. All right. So it's a chance to speak with a bit of passion. Obviously, this was the example version we looked at through the week, which is to do with Gerald the mountain gorilla in his letter to the humans. And the bit that we're going to be looking at today is this final part from where it says, humans, please, surely you can see. And because this is closing this letter off, and we've made our points, and now we're going to finish it and sign it off as a letter. And I've got this written out here. I'll read it to you first, and I'll go through what it all means. So, in this one, Gerald the mountain gorilla, he's already introduced the letter. He's gone through the reasons that the rainforests are being destroyed and why it's bad for all the animals in the rainforest. And then he closes his letter. And there's three parts to this, and I'll talk through them. The first part is appealing to the humans, trying to appeal to their emotions and trying to get them to change their ways. So it says this. Humans, please, surely you can see that the rainforest is too valuable to be destroyed. The animals, plants, and people who live there need it. It's the only home they've ever known. The rainforests are too important to be destroyed by the greed of humanity. You understand that, don't you? Please take a second to process this information. Take a second to think of all of us living in the rainforest. Take a second to imagine what life would be like without a home. So I would say that's appealing directly to the humans to think about what you've said. I love the repetition of 3. Take a second, take a second, take a second. And although we're kind of having a go at the humans all the way through, we want to try and appeal to them now and make them think about what they've done and whether they can begin to make a change. And that's that part there. That's that appealing to the humans. Come on, guys, let's change our ways. And there's a second part to the closing. Okay, I'll get a different colour highlighter. We'll go for that one. And it says, it's this bit here. Now here, Gerald the mountain gorilla, with his excellent handwriting, he then thanks the humans for reading the letter, because the way of appealing to somebody is also to be very polite with them and thank them for what they've done. So, thank you for taking the time to read my letter. I hope, no more than that, I pray, that you act upon it. I know that you humans have it in you. I know that you have a heart. Please stop destroying our rainforests. And we've got another repetition of 3, and we can use this today. Be the one who makes the change. Be the one who saves us. Be the one who makes a difference. The future of the rainforests is down to you. Okay, so that's sort of the thanking for them for reading, and again appealing to them to make a difference. So we've got those 2 separate paragraphs there. And the final part is a sign off, which is nice and straightforward. People often forget to do it. Yours faithfully, because you don't really know the humans, so you sign up as faithfully. Put your name in, Wilfred the whale, and where you are. I don't know, where are you? Atlantic Ocean, something like that. Okay, explaining where you're from. That's the sign off. In terms of the other key success, repetition for effect. Does it twice. Take a second, take a second, take a second. Be the one, be the one, be the one. Something like that. So you sort of, that repeating, like we're doing lots of writing, that will have a big impact on the reader. Rhetorical questions are used throughout it. You understand that, don't you? Okay. You can add in more rhetorical questions if needs be. We've used them quite a lot through the writing so far. So be careful not to use ones that you haven't used already. And then finally, it's got to be passionate at this point. You've built it all up. I spoke to a few yesterday that when you read this, you've got to read it with passion. And maybe part of the publishing would be reading it and recording it aloud as a speech. And part of that is acting a little bit and speaking with real, that you really, really care. That's the key, that you sound like you really care and that you sound like this is really hurting. You've got to imagine that you're a whale and these terrible things have been happening to you and your friends and your family for a long, long time. So you would be annoyed, okay? So that's the key to success, essentially. Break into the 3 parts we've looked at on the video. So you've got the 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and the sign off. Try and use some rhetorical questions. Try and do some repetition for effects. You could use the structure given with the be the one or take a second, or you could come up with your own sort of phrase to do that with. And it's got to be passionate. It's got to be emotive. It's got to really. You've got to sound like you are an upset and angry whale. Okay. The stretch is normal. Can you vary your punctuation? I would say vocabulary choice is a key here as well. Really taking your time to think about your vocabulary choice and maintain that high quality from start to finish, sort of bettering the waggle almost. And those who really stretch yourself will constantly edit and self-check as you go along. Right. This is the scaffold sheet that you've got on your computers that you can look at as you do your writing to support you. There's the example version. There's part 1, part 2, part 3. You can use that as your scaffold. And there's the key to success for you to check against you're going along. In terms of what you should have done through the week, you should have in your books the Dear Humans and the introductory paragraph. That would have been done on Tuesday, along with the paragraph about plastic pollution. You did all of that on Tuesday. You'll then have yesterday, you did the next part where you talk about other things. So it could be a second argument, maybe to do with whaling, a third argument, maybe to do with global warming. And then you might have done a 4th one to do with like collisions with ships and tankers. I know in schools some children have wrote some other things as well. Okay, so you'll have quite a substantial letter drafted out already in your books. What we'll do at the end of all this on Monday is we're going to publish it all. But that's just so you know, that's what you should have done to this point. This is just the ending. So, and look back at my scaffold, my waggle. Humans, please, surely you can see that the rainforest is too valuable to be destroyed. Let's start my one. Humans. I'm going to use that starting point. I quite like it. Humans, please. Surely you can see the damage you are causing to the Earth's, with an apostrophe, ocean. I'm going to use repetition for effect here. I'm going to do surely, surely. Humans, please, surely you can see the damage you are causing to the Earth's ocean. Full stop. Surely you can see what harm you are causing through your selfish actions. Surely you can see, that's not what harm, the harm you are causing through your selfish actions. Okay, now look back at my structure here. The animals, plants, and people who live there need it. It's the only home they've ever known. So this is talking about, so I could use that a bit of a structure. The ocean, parenthesis, to us, the marine life. Or actually, to not just us whales, but all marine life. And the ocean, to not just us, but all marine. It is the only home we know, semicolon. It is everything. It means everything to us. Dash. It is our own, it is our safe haven. What do you expect us to do without our home? And now I'm going to speak directly to the reader. How would you like it if we did this to your home? So I've added in some rhetorical questions. I look back at my structure. The rainforests are too important to be destroyed by the greed of humanity. Oh, I like that phrase, greed. You understand that, don't you? I'm sure you will agree that the oceans, the oceans of the world are far too, let's have a look for a synonym, far too important. I'll leave it's important. Are far too important to simply be destroyed by your greed, the greed of humanity. I'm sure you will agree. I'm sure that you will agree. I'm sure that you will agree that the oceans of the world are far too important to simply be destroyed by your greed. The greed of humanity. So look back at this for some ideas. Oh, you understand that, don't you? So he's asked them a question. I'm going to ask them a question. I'm sure you do agree, don't you? Okay, so I'm asking a question, making them think. And then it does this take a second. So I'm going to go for one of those structures, but I'm going to please take a moment to consider the way in which you treat the world. Full stop. Take a moment to think about all of the incredible creatures that live within the waters of the world. Take a moment to consider. Let me just check this back. So please take a moment to consider the way in which you treat the world. Take a moment to think about all of the incredible creatures that live within the water world. Take a moment to not consider, I want something different. Take a moment to reflect upon your own actions. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. That's my first part where I'm appealing directly to the humans to consider everything they've done. And then we have part 2, which kind of thanks them for reading. So it says here, and look at this one, thank you for taking the time to read my letter. I hope no more than that I pray that you act upon it. So now it's sort of, I know that you humans have it in you. I know you have a heart. Okay, so let's be nice to the humans now. So thank you so much for taking the time to read my letter. I hope that you have took on board everything that I have written within it. I know that at times I have referred to humanity as selfish and greedy, but I know that deep down you all have a heart and a conscience. So I'm appealing direct to you. I know that you as humans do care about the world. I'm going to do some repetition here. I know. I know that you do care for the, I want to say incredible again, but I don't want to keep repeating myself. For the, for a word instead of brilliance. For the dazzling and multicoloured creatures that habitat within our oceans. I know that you I know that you want to do the right thing. Okay, so far it says, thank you so much for taking the time to read my letter. I hope you have took on board everything that I've written within it. I know that in times I refer to humanity as selfish and greedy, but I know that deep down you all have a heart and a conscience. I know that you as humans do care about the world. I know that you do care for the dazzling and multicolored creatures that habitat within our oceans. I know you want to do the right thing. Let's have a look at my scaffold for some ideas. Please stop, so it's like please, so pleading with them. Please stop destroying our rainforests. Be the one who makes a change. Be the one who saves us. Be the one who makes a difference. I like this. So, please, I'll build this up a bit. Please take the time to consider everything that I have written within this letter. I'm going to use be the one. You could choose be the human that begins to make a difference. I've got an idea here. Be the human that begins to make a difference. Be the human that changes the way humanity treats the rest of the world. Be the trailblazer. That comes from our reading last week. Be the trailblazer, the one who started to change it all. I know, in fact, I am certain that you have it in you. Be different, be the change maker that the world needs. It's saying change maker isn't a word. Be the change maker. I feel like it is a word. It works for this. So I've written my letter to humans. Yours faithfully, Donald the Whale. Donald the Whale. And where am I going to live? I'm going to live in the Pacific Ocean. See you later. That's my letter. I read it all the way back through. I've got my 3 parts. I check it now. I think to myself, I'd be checking against my key success. Have I done these 3 parts? Have I effectively used repetition for effect? Have I used rhetorical questions? And is it passionate? I do believe by using the repetition, you create that passion. Be the human that be the human that begins to make a difference. Be the human that changed the way humanity treats the rest of the world. Be the trailblazer, the one who started to change it all. I know, in fact, I am certain that you have it in you. Be the change maker that the world needs. This is one of those things you have to keep rereading it back, and by the end, you'll be really pleased with it. Right, guys, have fun with this. Be passionate. Read it back to yourselves. Your parents might think you're going a bit mad because you're reading your work aloud, but that's completely fine because you're doing it for your writing. And by the end of it, you should have a really brilliant ending. Once you've done that, check through everything you've done. On Monday, on the next lesson, we're going to publish all this. So you can start to think how you're going to publish your final write and what edits you need to make. But I'm sure they'll be absolutely brilliant. Try not to just write out like exactly copying the waggle or exactly copying what I've done, but you can use some of the ideas, but make it into your own piece and make it really passionate and make it something that inspires people to change the way they live they live within the world. All right, guys, have lots of fun, and I'll see you later. Bye.